Desert Gems. Today we're going to talk about some tips for your torch-fired enamel. We're going to talk about some trivet care, how to prevent contamination of your enamels, removing fire scale easily, and preserving the beautiful colors. As you know, when you're torch-firing enamels, you'll be firing from underneath, and you can see that they're propped on these little 3-prong trivets. So that has some effects on your trivet. When you first get your trivets, they're beautiful, shiny, new, but they do not look like that for long. The fire will turn them black. But here what I'm concerned with is that through the firing, the counter enamel has melted onto the surface of the trivet. Not a lot, but just a little bit, which means that every time I fire the next piece, a little bit of that enamel can stick or make bumps on the back of my piece. So I'm using a junky file. This is an old file. Do not use your good jewelry files. And I'm just really going over those edges to get them nice and clean again. I'm not worried about any other part of the trivet, just the edges where the actual piece will sit and touch. Tip number 2, when you get your enamels, they are pure, clean, beautiful colors, and we don't want to contaminate them. So I always make sure that I'm wiping down my workbench, and this is after I did the filing. So anytime I do any kind of filing or cleaning of the metal, I want to wipe my surface down. Another tip for keeping your enamels clean is to create a work surface where you can sift onto. I like to use sheets from something slicky like a magazine or a professional journal, and then I don't need a lot, so I kind of cut them in half. When you're done, just dump it right back into the enamel. I do use a brush sometimes to clean out my sifter, but some people actually go ahead and use a separate sifter for every single color. That crease down the middle is going to help you to pour your enamel back into the container uncontaminated. And yes, you can see that for every color of enamel that you use, you need a separate paper for your work surface. Tip 3, cleaning off the fire scale. So once you have fired the counter enamel on the back, you're going to need to clean up your pieces because they're going to have all of this black junk on them. Now some people use old-fashioned elbow grease and penny bright, and they scrub and scrub. But I tell you, I have no patience for that. And so I'm using a 120 grit blue silicone sanding wheel in my Fordham flex shaft. Now, if you just have a Dremel or some other rotary tool, you can absolutely do that. I also, because I have no patience, have used an 80 grit sanding silicone wheel just to speed up the process. It still takes a little bit of time. I've sped this up 4 times, so you can imagine if you were sanding this by hand. And so you made it to tip number 4. When you're trying to preserve your beautiful colors in the enamel, we're definitely firing underneath. So right now you're seeing me work on the side that has already been counter enameled in something dark like black or a mixed speckled gray of just all my odds and ends that get mixed together. But what you might notice about this piece is that because of those thin edges and the open hole, the flame is licking up into and on top of the piece, and that can create some really dirty, nasty colors. Whether you're using acetylene like I am or MAP gas, that gas is going to turn your enamel's ugly colors. The dark green, which is my counter enamel on the back, is still kind of ugly. Here's the front, where the enamel has turned this sooty, ugly color from the torch getting on top of the piece. I hope you enjoyed the 4 tips for torch enameling. So help me out and like and subscribe. And happy creating as always, and I'll see you next time.